Okay, we're going to look now. Um, Welcome back. We're going to look now at the next argument for the existence of God. Now, I just want to say, I hope you've seen how remarkable the arguments are that God exists. They're not like really have to close your eyes and say, "Oh, I believe." Now, that's true about evolution. In order to believe in evolution, you kind of have to close your eyes and say, "Oh, I believe it, I believe it, I believe it," even though logic says it doesn't work, our experience says it doesn't work, mathematics says it doesn't work. Um, it just doesn't work. It's a crazy theory that doesn't make any sense. So it's very important to understand that whereas the arguments that I'm giving you that God does exist are very convincing arguments, arguments that evolution is real, are very not convincing arguments. They're very unconvincing. They're very discouraging arguments because they're so bad. And I'm not just saying that. Obviously, I don't believe in evolution, but seriously, they're just not good arguments. And so it's important for you to recognize the arguments we've said so far are quite persuasive. Let's look at evidence number 5. Evidence number 5. Nothing can happen without a cause. The universe happened, therefore someone must have caused it. Now, this is true. We all know it's true. Everybody knows it's true. When I was a kid and my brother and I would have a fight, he always beat me up, and um, I would knock over a lamp and the lamp would break. My mom would come in, she'd say, "What happened?" "I don't know, it just fell over." I don't know, it just fell over. That's what I would do. Like, "Oh, I don't, how did that glass get broken?" "I don't know, it just dropped, it just fell." But nothing happens without a cause. My mother knew that. She said, "No, somebody did this. Somebody did this. This didn't just happen." Nothing in the universe can happen without a cause. Every mother knows that. Every mother knows that. The universe happened. Therefore, someone must have caused it. Stephen Hawking says, well, it's possible for something to happen without a cause. He said, and here's the proof, because the universe happened. I'm serious. That's his argument in one of his next to last book. I think it's his next to last book. He said, we know that it's possible for something to happen without a cause because the Big Bang happened and there was no cause. Therefore, it is possible. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's not an argument. That's just like a joke. So the Big Bang Theory says the universe has a beginning. It can't explain how something can come out of nothing. Now, you can search for this yourself, but there's a scientist named Richard Dawkins. He's got a hysterically funny, not on purpose, hysterically funny 5-minute video where he explains that when we say the universe came out of nothing, we mean that there was something already there that it came out of. And everybody in the audience laughs when he says that. He says, "What are you laughing at?" Well, because nothing really means nothing. And if you say that these laws were already there and there's something already there, well, then it's not nothing. I'm sorry, that's not nothing. But the universe did start. Let me say it again. We know for certain that the universe started. And there are lots of different reasons that we know that. But I'll tell you, one of the simplest reasons is that if the universe was eternal and entropy happens, then all of the energy of the universe would have been dissipated throughout the whole universe and everything would be just like dead cold. All the planets would be gone, everything would be gone. Because if the universe is eternal, then in eternity before, all the molecules would have fallen apart because that's what entropy does. It always goes to a place of rest. So it didn't happen. Scientists admit that the laws of gravity, etc., must have been in existence before the Big Bang happened. Only God could exist before the universe happened. Let me say that again. This is common sense. Only God could have existed. That's just common sense. And it's amazing to me. I mean, it's because of sin, but it's amazing to me that a person, a materialist, will say, no, but there is no God. And it's ridiculous for people to believe in God. And people who believe in God are just being so naive. They're just being so foolish. They're just being so completely stupid because they believe that God created everything. And you go, well, yeah, but you can't have something come out of nothing. And they say, well, it did. The universe happened, therefore it must have a cause. God must be the cause of the universe. That's it. It's over. Evidence number 6. This is a very, very powerful argument. There can be no purpose for anything without a purpose giver. We observe purpose throughout our world, everywhere we go. Therefore, there must be someone who gave it purpose. Get a hammer, all right? It's got a purpose, okay? Got a mouse. The mouse has a purpose. I got a glass. Oh, no, I don't. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, I don't have a glass. I've got a tablet. No, I don't. No, I don't. Oh, let me open it. See if that works. There we go. I got it. Oh, no, it disappeared. Ah! Okay, so I got all these things that all have purposes. I got all these things that have purposes, right? Why do they have purposes? Someone made them that way. Yeah. I mean, if something has a purpose, somebody gave it its purpose. You just can't have a purpose without someone giving it. And the weird thing about the universe we're living in is that things have purposes. I mean, they do. Every human sees purpose in the animal kingdom. Why do giraffes have long necks? Well, it's to get to the top of the tree to get the food up there. Well, wait a minute. No, that can't be, because evolution doesn't have purpose. The entire ecology of the planet, interrelatedness of so many species, suggests purpose. In other words, species depend upon each other. How does evolution do that? How can this organism evolve in such a way that it helps this organism and this organism to evolve in such a way that helps this organism, and they both come together and they help each other by evolution? How is that even possible? Things have purpose in our universe. All over the animal kingdom, all over biology, so many things have purpose. And we know that that's the way we talk. But evolutionists say, no, there's no purpose. It's just random chance mutation that's been naturally selected. And they say, oh, there can't be a purpose giver, but there can't be purpose without a purpose giver. That's it. Can't happen. Since this purposefulness is in every facet of this world, this purposefulness is in every facet of this world, God must be the purpose giver. Now, I don't understand why this purpose thing doesn't just convert everybody right away. Because this purpose thing, it's not simply that, oh yeah, humans see purpose where there really isn't purpose. That's not what's going on. It's not that humans see purpose where there isn't really purpose. There is purpose in just like the way the neck is made, the way muscles come together. There's purpose in the way eyes are designed. There's purpose in the way hearing is done. I mean, we watch these birds flying overhead where we are in Florida as I'm recording this. We watch these birds fly overhead, and every part of the bird has a purpose. And it's interesting because the birds do things differently. We're at the ocean, and some birds, when they drop pelicans, they'll drop down, they'll go upside down, they'll land in the water upside down. What are they doing? They have a purpose of doing that. It helps them to catch fish. There's a bird called an anhinga, and an anhinga, which is an awesome bird. It's kind of like a duck, but only different. And this anhinga has no oil in its feathers. That's very unusual. Most birds have oily feathers. The birds have oily feathers because oily feathers means that the water just kind of rolls off of them so they can fly. Anhingas don't have oily feathers. Why? Because they swim in the water. Yeah, they're in the water, and they go underwater, and they go underwater deep to catch fish. They got these really long, sharp, pointy beaks. What's the purpose of the beak? Oh, it's to stab fish. What's the purpose of not having oil in your feathers? Well, to go underwater, because if you have oil in your feathers, it makes you buoyant, it makes you stay up. And they don't want to do that. Who gave them that purpose? Well, Evolution figured that out? Are you serious? No. God did. God figured it out. God's got to be there. Okay, let's talk about this argument. This is not a small argument. This is a very powerful argument. I know I keep saying that, but these are all powerful arguments. Human beings are dramatically different from all animals and cannot be considered products of random chance. Human beings are dramatically different from all animals. Now, I will say that we share some characteristics with monkeys. So this week, my daughter, where she lives in India, accidentally left her door open. She's got 4 kids, and that's probably what happened. And she went to the school where she teaches, and she was working in the school for a while. She came back, she had left the door open, and 20 monkeys were in her house. Literally, 20 monkeys were in her house. And, you know, mama monkeys with their babies on their necks and backs, and they just made a mess of the house. Oh my gosh, what a mess. So monkeys do seem to be a lot like humans, but not really. Monkeys don't compose symphonies, and monkeys don't draw. Monkeys don't talk about God. Monkeys don't plan for the future. Monkeys don't pray. I mean, we could just go on and on. The differences are shockingly different. Yeah, humans have language. Monkeys have ways to express themselves and their sounds, yes, and they're able to do that. The difference between monkeys and humans is gigantic, enormous, unbelievable. Unbelievable. Monkeys are scary at times, but monkeys are not like humans, intelligently, spiritually, emotionally. They're just not. And that's true all over the world. Humans are drastically different from animals. Can't be random chance. Common sense tells us that our intellect, our speech, our inventiveness, our interactions, our thinking are vastly different from the next most intelligent species. Look at this. I'm talking to a computer, and the computer is taking what I'm talking with the pictures, the aurora borealis, that's called that light behind me, and it's taking that and it's all, you know, turning that into an electronic program, and then that's going to be, I'm going to upload that to YouTube. You're going to be in your Moodle, and you're going to click on it, and it's going to come up. That's amazing. Humans did that. To say that humans and monkeys are close is pretty much like saying humans and Pluto are close. You're in the same solar system, but that's about it. We're not close at all, and it's even further. We're drastically different from the next most intelligent species. And also, and you need to remember this, each human is a person, unique and whole in him or herself. Each person is someone, and this can't be chance. Okay? And when you're a parent, you get this. When you're a parent, you get this. You understand it. The baby comes out, and the baby's like, oh, you know, the baby's just like throwing its arms up, and it doesn't really know what's going on. But within a couple months, that baby starts like turning into someone. By a year, that baby is definitely someone. So by 3 years old, baby's singing. Baby's no longer a baby. She's or he's singing songs and dancing, you know, throwing tempers and saying no, and all of the things that children do. And you know, it's amazing to watch how each child that you have is entirely different from the other one. They're all persons. They're someone's. And that is not from evolution. No way does random chance produce personhood. It doesn't happen. It's not there. It's all an illusion. We know it. Common sense says it. And science says, oh, no, you can't use that as a truth. You know, you can't use that as proof that God exists because random chance mutation, which is reinforced by natural selection. No way. Humans are not simply random chance mutation robots. There's no way. They're amazing, amazing, different from each other, unique, a whole universe in each human being. They're astonishing. God created that. It can't be chance. An intelligent creature like humans suggests an intelligent creator. I mean, good grief, what we do and what we think and how we invent and how we work and how we talk and how we imagine the future, how we dream about what can happen. All of that stuff says somebody incredibly intelligent created human beings and gave them free will and gave them personhood, the image of God. And that intelligent creator must be God. Okay, we're going to go to the Bible Project and talk about this, all right?
So if you lived in ancient Bible times, odds are you lived under the authority of a king.
And many of these kings claimed that they were gods, and they would even call themselves the image of God.
Meaning they had authority to tell people what to do, order things to be made.
Yeah, they got to define good and evil. And these kings would often make statues of themselves, which in Hebrew were called tselem, often translated as idol or image.
But for Israel, they didn't view their kings as the God. In fact, they were never supposed to even make images of God.
It's exactly right, and that was really unique for that time and culture. This is rooted, first of all, in Israel's belief that you can't reduce the creator God down to any one thing in creation. But there's another reason. People aren't to make images of God because God has already made images of himself.
When did he do that?
Well, let's go to page 1 of the Bible. And the first person we meet there is God. He's the one with authority over all creation. He speaks and creation obeys. And he defines what is good and not good. In other words, he alone is king. But then surprisingly, as the pinnacle of all of God's creative work, he makes humans. And he calls all of them the image of God.
So he gives all humans the authority to rule.
Exactly, that's what he goes on to say. He tells the humans to subdue the earth and to rule it. And so this task that once belonged only to elite kings is here in the Bible the task of every human being. This was a revolutionary statement in its day because all humans are being called to rule and to participate in the human project.
So what does this mean? I mean, how are we all supposed to rule?
So the picture we get in Genesis is gardening.
Gardening?
Yes. Gardening. So they rule the earth by cultivating it, by harnessing all of the earth's raw potential and then making something more and new out of it.
So growing food for each other.
Yes, but that also includes growing families then, which become neighborhoods, and then they create communities where people are going to work and take care of each other and build businesses and cities that will expand to new places and so on.
So ruling is really the day-to-day acts of our work and creativity.
Yes, we take the world somewhere. This is humanity's divine and sacred task.
Yeah, and this all sounds really nice. And humans have designed some pretty great things. But just as often we create things that cause a lot of suffering and a lot of injustice. So maybe we shouldn't actually be ruling.
Yeah, so the Bible addresses this. In Genesis, what happens is that God gives humans a choice about how they're going to rule. So are they going to use their authority for the benefit of others, which is God's definition of good, or are they going to turn away and define good and evil for themselves and use their authority for self-advantage?
And in the story, they choose to define good and evil on their own terms.
And so this is the Bible's depiction of the human condition. So sometimes we pull off amazingly good stuff, but just as often, despite our best intentions, we act selfishly and we create evil in the world.
And so we're stuck as mediocre rulers making a mess of things.
But that's not the end of the story. So the Bible goes on and it makes this claim that all of this was resolved when God bound himself to humanity through Jesus. And he showed us what it looks like to truly rule as a human.
So what does it look like?
Well, Jesus ruled by serving and by seeking the best for others, by putting himself underneath them and loving not just his friends, but also his enemies.
And that's not a typical way to rule.
And not only that, Jesus confronted the consequences of all of the evil and the death that we have created by our messed up ways of ruling. And he takes it. I mean, he lets it kill him. And so when the New Testament writers looked back to Jesus' resurrection, they see a whole new future opening up for all humanity.
Jesus is a new way to be human.
Yeah, that's why they called Jesus the image of God, or the new human. And not only that, they also believe that Jesus' divine life and power is now available to heal and to transform us to become our life and power.
And this sounds really nice, but what does it really look like?
So practically, the Apostle Paul said it looks like people being filled by Jesus' own presence and spirit, filled with love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and integrity and gentleness and self-control. He says this is the new humanity that God wants to create in us, so that we become people in whom God's image is being restored, people who will move the human project forward. And that's actually how the story of the Bible ends. It's a renewed world where God is on his throne and his servants are all around him, but they're the ones ruling over this new world, taking it into new, uncharted territory with Jesus as their healer and their guide.